Well, good evening, listeners. You're listening to Lament of Hope podcast, and I am very excited today. I'm getting to speak with Donnie Most. Many of you are going to recognize the name from Happy Days, is his big TV show that he's known for. He was in it for about 7 seasons. Um, and I've been able to interview so many different actors from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's been so cool to get to know them as people, to get to kind of see their life journeys, to see how TV has become different from when they were in television to now. So I'm really excited to be connecting with him. So Don, thanks so much for joining the podcast.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, Don, I kind of want to start out because I hope to make this interesting for you too. What is one question that you're asked all the time that has become very annoying at this point?
um, well, obviously uh, revolves around the show. Um, like um, what was it like doing the show, or what are some of the memories that stick out the most, or what was it like working with Henry Winkler, or those. I get those uh, ad infinitum.
Does it bother you, or you just you're used to it and you just have kind
No,
of a staple answer?
yeah, I mean, I'm used to it, and I understand people want to know that. So, yeah, I understand it, but sometimes it gets like, uh, can we talk about other things? Because there's so much else I've been doing since the show, and still up to right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things going on. Um, so I figured that maybe people have heard all that already anyway, too. You know, and
Yeah.
so I figured, that's all been done, said and done. But I understand people want to know about my experiences doing this show, because it's a show that has lasted for uh, bunch of several different generations have become fans of the show,
Yeah.
and it continues. So, which I'm grateful for, and feel uh, you know really glad that that's the case, obviously. So I understand it, and I've come to be able to discuss it with people, and without. I think it was tougher um, during the show when people would want to know the same things over and over. Um, Now maybe I just have a better perspective on it, so I don't get doesn't set me off at all anymore.
Why would it during the show? Was it just because you were doing press all the time, or?
Yeah, I think there was so much more press,
Okay.
and the show we were number one in the country for quite some time, and so you know a lot of people wanted to talk with me and ask, and then it was very much the same questions, because there wasn't that much else. I mean, that was what was going on. Now
Right.
it's so many years later, and there's so much else going on. Um, but I understand. I think it's it's when it's pretty easy is when people start talking to me about what I'm doing and what I'm doing now, and I've directed. I Besides acting, I sing. I have 2 CDs out. I've been doing live performances, at jazz clubs and um, theaters, and new a lot of new acting work in the last 5 6 years, doing a lot of different kinds of films and different characters. So people will talk to me about that, and then they might say, okay, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I have to ask you. And then they'll ask me something about Happy Days, and then it's fine. It's fine, because it's part of the whole picture.
Right. What I know you mentioned all the projects you've done and are doing. What do you think you're most proud of? What project, wherever that
Hmm.
be? your music or if that's a
Yeah,
film or
most proud of. God, that's tough. That's a tough one. I don't know if I could pick one. I mean, I'm certainly proud of what I did on Happy Days and the fact that it's endured so much and that people loved the character. And so I'm definitely very proud of that. Um, but there's other things I've done that I feel I've done really good work with, and I don't know that I could pick one. Um, there's some theatrical productions I've done that I felt really great about. Um, um, Let me think of, certain plays I did, like a play called Wait Until Dark, where I played um, this really sick psychopathic murderer. And
oh wow.
so that was but I worked hard on it, and I was pretty proud of what I did in that.
Hmm.
And film out that's called Lost Heart,
Mm-hmm.
that I did about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm pretty proud of the work I did in that. Um, I'm really looking forward. I did a movie that's going to have a theatrical release, I think, in the spring, and then it'll be streaming during the summer. It's called Harson's Island Revenge,
Hmm.
and it's based on a true story. During Prohibition in Michigan, with all the bootlegging, and there was a mob, a gang that was controlling a lot of all the bootlegging, and they were pretty vicious, murderous gang, and it was a Jewish mob, and I play the head of that mob,
Hmm.
and a pretty intense role. So I'm hearing really good things about it, and I was pretty proud of what I did in that, and so it's hard to pick just one, and there's a bunch of others. Uh, it's a good question. Have to think about that some more.
Do you, what do you like about certain roles? Like what makes you attached to them? Is it the the lines or is it um because they're completely opposite to your personality or what attracts you
Uh,
to doing it?
yeah, well, the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue is very important for any character you play. I mean, when I read a script, um, I I will pay attention. If it's really well written, the dialogue is well written, the character, the arc of the character, and the story, obviously. Um, so, uh, but I guess it doesn't matter whether it's you know. I played in Lost Heart. I play a local pastor who was a little eccentric, not your normal pastor. Um, But then I went in the next film I did, I went from the pastor to playing a polygamist. So, um, it doesn't matter whether in Harson's Island Revenge, like I said, I play the head of this mob, but then I do comedic roles that I really enjoy too. So it's really, if it's really well written and there's depth to the character, there's different texture layers and colors, and 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 if it's certainly somewhat important to the main story, that makes it. I mean, you could play a character that's kind of on the sidelines and a peripheral character, and it could be fun, it could be good, but uh, usually if it's more integral, I enjoy that,
Hmm.
and especially if it's um, just an interesting character that has a lot of different, like I said, colors, and not just sort of black and white, or the way it's written. I mean, you could hopefully bring other elements to it, even if sometimes that's the challenge. You get something that is written a little bit character like caricature, 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 like a caricature, and and then you have to find ways to to balance it out, fill it out more, bring it to life and make it an interesting character and not just, to like playing two notes on the piano, just only two notes. You want to play, I want to hear all the octaves and the different interesting chords and the
Yeah.
minors and major chords and minor chords and on all of that, and so if you get that and if that's already in the script to a large degree, then it's like, well, that's exciting, really exciting. Because sometimes it's not there, and then you're having to try to, you know, find things to bring to it that will add to add to the if the thin development of the character. You want to make it rich.
Yeah. Is there like a character you played that's very opposite to you, you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. Most the part I played in Happy Days was very opposite to who I was. I was never the comedian in the group, the guy who wanted to get all the laughs and be the class clown comedian, whatever. That was not me. So that was very opposite of who I was. Um, when I played the, this guy, the head of a mob, that's a vicious mob. That's not really me. um, I
That's
mean,
good.
I can get angry and lose my temper and maybe be a little scary. But that's the thing you have to do as an actor is find things within yourself that you could bring out that, but it's bringing him out in ways that it's coupled with this and it's coupled with that and coupled with something else, and then all of a sudden it's not you, even though there's elements of, like, oh, here's where it's like when I got really so mad I almost couldn't contain myself. So you have to find those things within your own experience, but they're put together and all the different pieces are put together and there's a magic, and then the imagination comes into play. So trying to think other characters that were really different. Almost everything I've been doing lately. Um, I did a western, and I played a guy that was kind of a real troublemaker and just a guy that uh, was always I don't know, just making things worse than they should be, and it was a whole different kind of dynamic that I felt with that character, and there's been others. I played uh, a career criminal, and I was a different in a movie called County Line, No Fear. That was a few years ago,
Hmm.
and there's a bunch of others. I'd have to like think about it and make a list.
I know you mentioned you were saying earlier you're trying to like tap into ex experiences or emotions you felt so that you can kind of maybe make them bigger for the role you're in. When you were talking about the fact that you don't get angry as often or blow up as much, what do you think's made you the most angry before?
I don't know. I can't really comment on that. Every situation, there's a lot more to it than it's not just one thing. It might have been something that's been building up, and then it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. So I can't say what it is that makes me angry. It could be so many. It could be different things at different times, and the context is different.
Yeah.
So I can't really answer to that.
Does it take a while for you to get angry, typically?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What,
yeah,
oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Might hold things in. That's what a lot of people do, I guess. And then it's like the pot boils over. And then this the thing that pushes you over the edge isn't really it. It's 10 other things that have had built it up to that moment. And
Yeah.
then,
Do you like what is your kind of go-to state? Are you more like are you kind of a type A type of person or you're more laid back or do you enjoy are you more artsy? What do you think your personality, how would you describe it?
oh gosh, I could be all of those things depending. Um, Sometimes I used to be probably a little more type A. I used to be, but not as much now. But sometimes a little of that comes through. But then there are times when I'm much more laid back and artsy. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate. I've always been into music and film, theater, um, and I've directed as well as and I've also been into photography a lot, and
Hmm.
and admire, and I don't paint, but look, appreciate nice art and photography, and so so there is that artsy side of me, and then there's a part where I would just enjoy going to a ball game too.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite team?
Used to growing up in Brooklyn, New York, I was a um, huge Yankee fan. But then when I left and I went to Los Angeles, I was still a Yankee fan probably for the first 20 years I was in LA. I still was a Yankee fan. But by about, year 20, 25, I started slowly becoming a Dodger fan. But now that I left LA, um, I guess I'm going to be looking into the the Rockies, the Rockies team. I can't even remember the names of the teams because I kind of I I went through about 5 years where I just stopped even following baseball, which I never thought would happen, but it did. And now I'm in a whole new place, so I have to start getting to know the teams and the players and all that.
Did you just lose interest in the sport or
Yeah, kind of lost interest, and it was something I used to love going to games and watching games, and following the, them through a whole season, and then postseason if they got in. Yeah, just it wasn't as it wasn't important anymore.
Hmm.
Just my priorities totally shifted, and
What are
now that
you?
yeah,
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
go
I'm sorry.
ahead.
I was just saying this year is the first year in like 5, 6 years where I started wanting to watch some games towards the end of the year when it was getting important, and then I started getting into it again. It was nice. I hadn't done that in, like I said, probably 7 years, and I didn't even really know why it shifted, but things, life happens, and certain things become less important, other things become more, and that's what happened.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I mean, I have to be honest with you, I'm not a sports fan in general, so it's kind of I've slowly gained some appreciation, I think, for football, but that's about it.
Uh-huh. Hmm. Hmm. Well, that's
Uh,
interesting. That's cool.
well, yeah, I suppose, but when you're with diehard fans, I think it's hard for them because you don't have the same type of enthusiasm because when you're a diehard sports
Yeah,
fan, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I was gonna ask when you were talking about, just different priorities, like what are your priorities now at this point in life?
Yeah. Well, things with family and my wife, and and because you get older and uh, health issues start to creep in ways, and that becomes really important.
Yeah.
More important than some of the things we talked about. Um, so it's being with family and good friends, and but the work is still very important to me. That's still a big priority for me. Um, as I alluded to, I still want to keep acting, and I've been lucky to be getting some really interesting opportunities in the last, 6, 7 years.
Hmm.
Um, More so than I had. There's always ups and downs, and in the sort of acting career, singing career, it goes up and down, up and down. Um, so these last 6, 7 years on the acting side have been really good. Um, so I still want to do that. It's a big priority, and the music, the singing, which I love doing, and it's been going really well. I've been getting great response. So I want to keep doing that, and that's still up there as a big priority for me. Um,
Yeah.
and then being able to get out and enjoy, now that I'm in Colorado, getting out into some beautiful country and enjoying nature and being able to do that is a, and try to fit that in too.
Yeah. So trying to stay really active, it sounds like.
Yeah, trying to. Yeah, some um, active, but well, active with the things that are important. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so you know, and stay healthy.
Yeah. Do you, when you were talking about music, is there a song that really resonates with you? It may not be one you've sung, but is there a particular song that you really love to listen
Hmm.
to?
I don't know that I could think of one song, that stands out. Um, but when I was there's one piece of music that I first, when I was young, I think I heard it at a theater in New York City. My mom and dad took my sister and I think, to a show. It might have been at Radio City Music Hall,
Hmm.
and I heard it was for the first time and with an orchestra. Heard Rhapsody in Blue, the
Oh,
famous
yeah.
Gershwin piece,
Hmm.
and that one always has stood out to be one of my favorites. It's not there's no lyrics to it, but but there's so it's all instrumental, but it's amazing. It just really affected me, that song. It still does. It still does.
How do you feel when you listen to it? Like, can you
Lots of
describe?
different, I don't know if I could even describe it, but lots of different feelings when you listen to it. There's all these different movements in it, and it changes, and all of a sudden it goes into this whole other feeling. And it could be very sweet and a little cheerful, and then it can become very um, sort of more reflective and somber, and then all of a sudden it becomes vibrant and vibrant in a different way, and joyful, and then exciting, and then all these emotions that come together, kind of.
Yeah. So you kind of go for a roller coaster of emotions with that song.
Yeah, and roller coaster, but and then other and different, and not just up and down, up and down. I mean, there is that, but it goes in different directions, and it just affects me differently.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you seem like a more reflective person. Do you think you're more reflective?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's an accurate observation. Definitely. I was once told by a doctor that I'm obsessively analytical. So, so I guess, and reflective is in there too, part of that.
What do you like to analyze? Like just life or
It's just whatever it is, it's like I'll ask. My friends used to make fun, tease me because they say, you ask so many questions. It'd be about anything that comes up. And and then I have to know, these things that they were going, that's not even the main part of the story, like, why are you asking all these questions? I just like had to, for some reason, understand and analyze. I don't know. It's just the way my brain works. And I've gotten better. I think I've gotten better, not quite as obsessive about it.
I was gonna say, I think it's becoming less of a art now to ask questions. People are always in a hurry to kind of just say what they gotta say, not really listen that much, you know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Things are, everything's faster now, I guess. And, move to the next thing, move on. And, yeah, I think you're right.
Is there a topic right now that you're maybe thinking about or looking into or trying to find answers to?
Hmm. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm on the precipice of that. I'm not quite there. On the precipice. As you get older, you use philosophy, or trying to understand things in a big, much bigger picture,
Yeah,
bigger perspective, and trying to figure out. But we'll never figure it out. There's too much of the unknown, and what the meaning of things are in life, and meaning of, and what's out there beyond, and you know
yeah,
all those, all the those big questions, which I'm maybe starting to think about more and more, as you dealing with your own mortality.
yeah. Do you, are you a religious person at all or
No,
no?
no, no, not religious. um um but probably all the some of the values and ideas that come from all the different religions, those are important to me. But
Yeah,
having to go to temple, and as a regular type of thing, and doing the prayers, and you know that's not as important to me.
yeah. Do you think it's because you don't really understand it or it's just not, it doesn't seem personal to you or
No, no, it's not that. It's not that. Just feel that you don't have to, if you live it, if you live those things and abide, strive to live a certain way, that
yeah,
you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a regiment, a regimen, and it has to be a kind of, whatever you call it.
a formula or
Yeah, or formula, just the ritual aspect of it, and that's not as important. Anyway, not something I want to really delve into right now.
yeah, no, I understand that. If you don't want to answer this, please tell me, but I was thinking when you were talking about mortality, like, do you fear dying or is that kind of comforting to you that life ends and
Um, I don't know that it's comforting. Um, I just feel there's a lot more I still want to do, a lot more that I
yeah,
want to do and accomplish, and live. And so is there a fear that I won't get? I guess that's the main fear, is that if I don't get to do those things, that I feel some sort of drive still towards
Yeah.
getting done,
What do you want to
and
do?
and
Like,
and 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 see my see my family, and I now have a grandchild, and see them develop and grow, and spend more time and getting all those things in.
yeah,
That's important, real important right now. So I think I'm going to have to take off about now.
you're right. Look at that. Time flies. Well, Don, thank you so much. I'm so
Sure.
grateful that you were willing to sit down and share a little bit about your life and what you're thinking.
Oh, oh, sure. Thank you. It was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see what else you get to do.
Oh, me too. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll have a good night, Don.
Yeah, you too, Danielle.